Okay, another Libghostty devlog because stuff is moving fast now. The big change that we have done in the past 48 hours is that Libghostty can now handle what we're calling effects. So up to this point, let me just show you. So here's the PR that did it, but let me show you what it looked like up to this point. So up to this point, here's an example Zig program using the Zig API, although I'm going to show you the C API later, um, of how easy it is to use libghosty and implement a terminal. We initialize a terminal here, we get a stream, and then you can just pass bytes to it, like with the full escape sequences and everything, and our handler parses this and updates the terminal state, and everything just works. It's about just as easy within C as well. But you can see we call it a read only stream because by default the stream ignores any sequences that would cause external effects or that require a response. So it's effectively read only in the sense that we're never writing to the PTY. We're never writing responses. We're only really handling terminal state. So as of yesterday on the Zig side, and then I'll show you the C side, we introduced something called effects. They're optional, they're opt-in in order to handle these queries and side effects. And this covers, here's a list of examples of sort of side effects that terminals have to deal with. The bell, title changes, device attributes, device status, size reports, and a bunch of other stuff. Some of these are not super important, like your terminal not supporting a bell or even a title change is not that important. Some of these are super important. So things like device attributes is also how you request cursor position. If the running terminal program wants to ask the terminal, hey, where's the cursor right now? That's that. Size reports, NeoVim actually uses this to handle resizes. So up until today, uh, NeoVim within libghostty terminals wouldn't resize properly. And so these are really important. And then as of today, just 2 hours ago, we also have the C API for effects as well. So let's look at the Zig one first, real quick. It's in stream handler, stream terminal. Basically, this handler that you get back, let me actually go back to that example. So here, this stream you could get back, it's a var, you can now just assign effects to it. By default, they're read only, which just sets all the callbacks to null. But you could specify a number of different callbacks here. And if you only want to support some of them, you only set some of the callbacks. If you only want to support the bell, then you do that. And that's it. That's how easy it is. Now let's go ahead and look at the C API. C API is here. Let me actually open up Ghostling to show this to you. Let me just show you what it looks like via a real program. So Ghostling is the minimal libghostty demo. It's fully updated with the effects. So let's grab this, go all the way to the bottom. Let's see where we set up the effects. Oh, here they are. So now, if you're a C programmer, this is going to look pretty familiar for a callback-based API. You set some user data. User data is what's passed back to you when the callback is set, and then you set a number of callbacks. And actually, Ghostling is a good example where we don't use every possible callback type here. We only implemented 6, and I don't know how many are there's 8. So there's a couple we didn't implement yet, but we implemented all the important ones. We're able to write responses back to PTY. We're able to do size reports, device attributes, title change, stuff like that. And if you look at what some of these this callback looks like, it's really simple. You get the terminal that triggered the callback, your user data that you configured, and then it's different per callback, but in the right case, you get the data and the length, and we're able to use that to actually write to the PTY. And this enables a number of really important things. So if we come over here, I actually have a build somewhere here. If we build Ghostling, here it is. NeoVim is something that responds to this. So if we actually, let me open it here. All the question marks are because we're using a font that doesn't support a bunch of stuff. But now if we actually, let's open a file, you can see mouse works everything. This is Ghostling. This is just a libghostty terminal. This isn't like this isn't Ghostly itself. But now you can see we actually handle resize properly. And the fact that it stretches until we let go, that's kind of a raylib thing. That's not entirely all our fault. But yeah, it all handles it well. And if we go back and let's like make this pretty small, We could run a more legacy thing. This doesn't actually use size reports to do resizing. This uses signals, but that works as well. So really important to be able to write back to the terminal. And now we support it, and Ghostling is fully updated to handle it. So at this point, the terminal capabilities of a libghosty terminal from both the C and the Zig side are effectively fully functional, I guess you would call it. They're able to respond and react to uh, most everything that is thrown at it. There are a few holes still, but they're very much on the long tail side of things. Things like kitty graphics support, that's blocked on having a zero dependency regular expression engine or making an opt-in with libc. We're working on it, but it's blocked on regular expressions. And then there's a couple other things again, but these are things that most programs don't use. So it's not critical. The effects piece was a really big one, and that's what we've been working on. Oh, I'll throw in a bonus. We've also been able to just make, because we now have the effects API, we've been able to do some really cool stuff that is important for correctness. So, for example, in the C API now, when you call resize, we now require the cell width, cell height for resize. If you don't have it, if you don't, I mean, you should be computing that, but if you don't have it, you can pass zero. But that's really important because we update the terminal's width and height, which is going to be the pixel size of the terminal is critical for the future Kitty graphics protocol. It does need that to work. But we also do some other stuff like disable synchronized output, and this is a really important one. Oh, well, I should say we disable synchronized output because that allows the next frame to render right away, and the spec specifically calls out that during a resize, synchronized output is allowed to be disabled. This is the really important one. This is actually what NeoVim uses if you support it, and libghosty does say it supports it. The in-band size reports. So if this mode is on in the terminal, then we do have to write the resize event to the PTY. And now we could check if we have the effect and write it. There is some other stuff I want to do. For example, if we don't have the right PTY effect configured, I actually want to have libghosty pretend that it doesn't know what in-band size reports are, because if we do that, then NeoVim will fall back to the old style of resizing. So resizing will still work with NeoVim. But right now, the problem is libghosty always says, yeah, I know about in-band size reports. And so NeoVim's like, cool, I'll use that. But if you don't set a right PTY, then resizing NeoVim's broken. And there's another number of other programs that could potentially behave that way. So we need to get a little more advanced with how we handle mode setting. But that is for a future commit. So that's the state of the state. That's where things are right now. Sorry, we'll include one more thing that has nothing to do with effects, but we've been doing a lot of work on the. Let me just go to the closed PRs here on the libghosty side for Windows. A ton of stuff for Windows on libghosty. So we now run libghosty builds and tests within CI for Windows, and we have a couple users already using it on Windows. So libghosty VT works great on Windows, or maybe I won't say great yet, but it works at all, and it's getting tested, and we are going to make it great. So that's the update. Thanks.